Cari fratelli e sorelle, and welcome to my weekly video blog. Do you know, it's another bumper blog this week because, well, it's been another 2 very bad weeks for me, and one was because basically I had a cold, and it was quite a bad cold. It had me coughing all over the place, and more to the point, it made my voice go terribly horrible. It was one of those colds where if you cough it actually hurt, as in sort of physically hurt. It was not very nice at all. And there's been a lot of coughy flu-y things going round. So I basically decided that last week, you know, I was just going to, halfway through, I was just going to forget everything and start again once I had beaten it. And you know, I hope it's on its way out. I think I'm sounding a little bit better than I was before. I'm certainly not coughing quite as much as I was before, which is good. Still rather congested, but there we are. What I want to do is forget the past sort of couple of weeks, forget everything really, and try and put it all behind us and move on really. I have been having an extremely hard time recently. That's the truth of it, and a lot of things are beginning to suffer because of it. And what I really need to do is pull myself together. So that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm very sorry to those people who may have sort of faced issues because of it. For example, those of my Facebook friends who often get mentioned in these videos because it is their birthday. Because I have been doing bumper blogs recently, you know, I've missed people's birthdays. You know, I've had to send them belated wishes, as I'm going to have to do shortly again. You know, so I've got to pull myself together, basically. So hopefully I can do that. It is in fact a bank holiday for us this week. In the US they celebrate it as Memorial Day, which is their see, they split it basically. Their festival for remembering the dead, the war dead, is Memorial Day, whereas they have sort of Veterans Day, which is closer to our Remembrance Day, which is sort of around the Armistice Day. It's all very confusing. But basically, the Armistice Day was the end of the First World War, and at least for the vast majority of the world, it is that that forms the basis for any festival of remembrance in terms of war dead. The Americans are a little bit different. They have their War Dead Memorial now on Memorial Day, which is a bank holiday at the end of May, and then they have a sort of festival for those who serve in the armed forces but haven't died, whereas we tend to remember them all at once on Remembrance Day, whether they're alive or not. So, you know, hopefully they are all, they tend to view it as a bit of a holiday, which is strange because we don't, our Festival of Remembrance, Remembrance Day is not a holiday, it's not a bank holiday for us. And I think the danger of having such a thing as a holiday is that you miss the point of what it's all about, really, which is, you know, that people have died throughout time to preserve our way of life as it is now. And whilst we grumble and complain, you know, there are people who have lost everything in order to make sure what we have now is as good as it is. So, you know, to sort of have a day off and spend it partying or doing whatever you're doing, you know, I'm all for a celebration of Thanksgiving, but I think the danger with the way that the American culture has sort of assimilated this festival, if you like, is that I suspect a lot of people just used it as a like we do. It's just a plain bank holiday. It's just a day off, a day to do fun. And I have to say, I'm not celebrating Memorial Day, obviously. I am having a bit of a sofa day. I am staying in and I am doing all the work and all the chores and all the shit that I should have been doing. You know, now that I'm feeling a little bit better, I'm starting as I mean to go on. So, without further ado, let us move on to those who do have their birthdays and have had their birthdays since our last blog. We start off with those whose, unfortunately, are getting belated birthday greetings this week. I do apologise again. I hope you had past tense, a good birthday. And that goes for Sean Barks, Todd Locks, Wendy Barron, Kev Collum. Wendy Barron again. She must have 2 Facebooks. How bizarre. Chris Carriasso, Bev Watson, my dear friend Bev Watson, whose celebration barbecue I missed because I was just feeling so shit, and also I didn't particularly want to give her what I got, but you know. And Chris Bailey. I hope they all had fantastic birthdays and ate lots of cake or drumsticks, chicken wings, whatever, in the case of Bev Watson. And for this next week's birthdays, we've got Kareem El Sharif, Andrew Axtell, Josie Picard, Mark Farrell, and there are more. Where are we? We've also got Chuck Vincent, who is an old friend from the forum that I still keep in contact with, Jeff Colmer, Catherine Jakes, and James Krause. So happy birthday to all of them. I hope they eat lots of cake, and I'm glad that I've been able to get birthday greetings to them before you know, they'd already passed the point, so to speak. You may also realise that I have not done particularly well with my UFC predictions this month either, but I do have the UFC predictions for 199 coming up, so do watch out for that. And finally, for those of you who are keeping tabs on things like the Allotment and the Aviary, the Allotment's going fine, and I think I'm keeping up to date pretty much with that online on my Facebook. The Aviary is a different matter. You know, we had a bad month last month. We had the worst month that we've had since the budgie cull in 2012, and we had some sort of infectious disease that went round and killed quite a few of my birds. So that hasn't sort of helped my general sense of apathy and feeling like shitness. I am pleased to say that now we are at a situation where I think I've used up the last of my bait trawl reserves, and I think that we have managed to move past that. The eggs, you know, the finches are starting to lay again, so hopefully we may have more than just the one solitary chick that we've had this month so far. It does mean that the only budgie I have left now is Jones Jr., who I've moved into a cage inside permanently. I do not plan on restocking my aviary. You know, it's too late in regards to trying to breed the canaries. I only have moose in left now. It just wasn't right. I needed to move them into a flight all of their own, and I had the budgies at that point, and then it just didn't work before I lost half my stock. So you know, we're carrying on with the finch breeding, and you know, we're quickly rattling towards our 5 years of the aviary. After that, I do not know what the future holds for the Pulver House of Birds, so you'll have to sort of wait and see, I suppose. I don't know myself, to be honest, what is going to happen with that. It is a summertime blessing when it works, when you do get into a situation where they can breed. But it is a wintertime curse. It is awful during the winter. It is so much work to keep it clean, to keep it tidy. You never get to see the birds, and then you find each year that quite a number of them die. There's also the situation that because they're outside and not inside, I don't get to know them quite so well. They're sort of semi-tame, and that's not really as... I thought that what I wanted was an aviary, but having an aviary, what I want really now, I suppose, is just a bird in a cage now. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, particularly in the fall. How many birds we have left then, and what's going on. And that's it for this week. I shall be back next week, and yes, we'll put everything else behind us and move forward. So until then, Pax Vobiscum.